Good morning. Welcome to Learn at Home with VIA. My name is Jennifer McKee. I'm a learning support teacher in the Jersey Shore Area School District. Today, we're going to learn about hippos. On our agenda, we have an essential question. We're going to list at least 4 jobs related to hippos. We're going to start by reading the nonfiction book, Hippos. Then, we're going to watch a video about Baby Fiona from the Cincinnati Zoo. What type of animal do you think Baby Fiona is? Then, we're going to review jobs related to hippos. You can tell me which one is your favorite. First, we're going to look at the book Hippos, written by Beverly Randall. What do hippos look like? A hippopotamus is a large, heavy animal. It has a big round body, a big head, and short legs. If you look, this hippopotamus can weigh 2 or 3 tons. It has short legs. It has a short tail. It has a heavy round body with small hairy ears, small eyes, a large nose, a big mouth. Do you know how many toes a hippo has? There's 4 toes on each foot. Do hippos have more toes than us or less? If you said more, you're right. If you said less, you're right. We have more toes because most people have 5 toes on each foot, and a hippo only has 4. Hippos also have very thick skin. They have a few hairs on their ears, and their noses, and on the tips of their tails. Hippos sleep in the daytime, but they can see in the dark, and they eat at night. When do hippos sleep? If you said hippos sleep in the daytime, you're right. Let's look at the top. Hippos live in the water. In the hottest part of the day, hippos rest in the water. They like to stay close together. Bull hippos fight. Bull, or male hippos, often fight each other. They open their mouths to show their big teeth. If one bull hippo does not move away, there will be a noisy fight. Sometimes a hippo is killed. When 2 big bulls are fighting, smaller hippos can get hurt too. Do bull hippos ever kill each other? If you said yes, you're right. Bull hippos sometimes kill each other. Let's look at the top. Mother hippos and their babies. Most mother hippos move away from the herd to have their babies. Each mother tries to keep her baby out of the way of the dangerous fighting bulls. Look at their big teeth. Hippos have very big teeth. Many baby hippos are born down under the water. As soon as they are born, they have to come up for air. Sometimes baby hippos like to rest on their mother's backs. Crocodiles can't get them there. Here's a question. Where are many baby hippos born? Can you tell someone at home? If not, you can share with us. Many baby hippos are born underwater. If you shared that or thought that, you're correct. Because baby hippos can't walk very far, hippo mothers babysit for each other. When a mother goes to eat on land, she sometimes leaves her baby in the river with other hippo mothers who take care of it. When the young hippos are bigger, they go with their mothers to join the big herd. Do mother hippos stay with their babies all the time? Can you turn and talk to a friend, or a brother or sister, or a mom or dad, or someone at home? Do mother hippos stay with their babies all the time? If you would answer no, you're correct. Sometimes mother hippos leave their babies with other hippo mothers as babysitters. Let's look at the top. Hippos eat grass. When the sun goes down, hippos leave their pools and rivers to eat grass. Sometimes the best grass is a long way from the water. Hippos often pull down the grass right out of the ground. When the ground is bare, the herd has to find a new feeding place. Tall white birds called egrets sometimes join the hippos. Egrets eat insects that they find in the grass and on the hippos' backs. When do hippos eat? Can you turn and tell someone at home? If not, be ready to answer with the group. If you said hippos eat when the sun goes down, you're right. Let's look at the top. Danger for young hippos. After eating in the dark for a few hours, hippos go back to the water where they feel safe. On land, hungry lions try to hunt young hippos that are not with their mothers. Lionesses have cubs to feed. If you remember, lionesses are the mother lions. Here's a picture of some lionesses and their cubs. Why are young hippos not safe on land? If you don't remember, use the picture to help you. If you said young hippos are not safe on land because lions try to catch them, you were right. Let's look at the top. Hippos underwater. Hippos can stay underwater for 5 minutes at a time. They walk along the riverbeds on tiptoe. Can you hold your breath for 5 minutes like a hippo? If you can, you're really good. I'm usually lucky if I can hold my breath for a minute at a time. Hippos in the mud. Sometimes pools and rivers dry up and turn to mud. Then the hippos coat themselves with mud to keep the hot sun off their skin. They lie around and wait for the rains to come. Why do hippos coat themselves in mud? If you said hippos coat themselves in mud to keep the hot sun off their skin, you're right. What do we use instead of mud to keep the hot sun off our skin so we don't burn? If you said sunscreen, you're right. Sometimes we wear long sleeve shirts, or we stay in the shade under a tree or an umbrella. Now I have a question. Where do hippos live? Use the picture to help. If you said hippos live in Africa, you're right. If you look, we have 2 different kinds of hippos. Our book mainly talked about river hippos. If you see the blue lines, those are our rivers, and there are our big hippos all over. There's also another type of hippo on the map. Can you find it? It's kind of tiny. Oh, you're right. Right there are the pygmy hippos. They're much smaller than the river hippos. Did you like our book about hippos? Can you turn and tell a friend an interesting fact you've learned? If there's not a friend near, you can tell a brother or sister, mom or dad, or someone at home with you. I didn't know hippos spent so much time in the water. What's something you didn't know and learned from the book we just read? Now, we're going to look at baby Fiona. If you look here, there's 2 different pictures of baby Fiona. Have you heard of her before? She's a baby hippopotamus that was born at the Cincinnati Zoo. We're going to look at one clip about her life at the zoo. While we watch this clip, I want you to think about the people who are helping Fiona. We're going to discuss some jobs we might see at the zoo.
like she needed a name for us to just kind of encourage her, like, come on, Fiona, like, you got this, rather than baby hippo or whatever. So each of the main keepers were able to suggest a name. Wendy suggested Fiona.
Like, one of her most striking features, of course, are her ears, which are adorable and kind of that fluted shape, and it instantly reminded us of Shrek and Princess Fiona.
If you check out a hippo's ears, they really do look like Shrek ears, or ogre ears. It just worked perfectly. So Fiona is sort of named after an ogre.
So Fiona was very fitting, and then especially when you look up the meaning of the word Fiona, which is fair.
And I believe BB's name means lady or fair lady.
So it felt just perfect for her, like it just clicked. And once we started calling her it, I mean, she embodied it almost immediately. She didn't have to grow into that name. It fit her very, very well. Like most preemies, Fiona's immune system was not fully developed and was not ready to tackle a big, germy, nasty world. So one of the biggest focuses that we had was kind of trying to keep her space as clean and sterile as possible.
Oops, I should have stopped that a little bit sooner. Do you know what a preemie is? Because they said Fiona was a preemie. A preemie is a baby born before their due date. Fiona was born 6 weeks early. Let's see what they do for Fiona.
Possible. So that was a constant effort on our part in terms of changing out your shoes, changing out your clothing. Everything that Fiona came in contact with was disinfected, sometimes multiple times a day.
So we went through towels and paper towels and Lysol disinfecting wipes, and we disinfected the floors every day, and we wiped down everything because we didn't want to spread anything to her.
Taking Fiona off of the oxygen was a big day. That was a big moment and really encouraging, and part of it just meant like she could have a little bit more freedom and flexibility. She wasn't tethered to an oxygen tank all the time.
Being more independent and walking more. She couldn't keep the cannula in her nose at this point.
It was nice to get her off it, I'm not gonna lie, because chasing her around with that thing on her face, trying to hold it in, and then, you know, she's fighting you because she doesn't want it in, because it's annoying, and I don't blame her, but when it was done, we all breathed a sigh of relief, I think.
Even a little milestone like being able to take her off of that was a big victory in a lot of ways, because it was one less thing to worry about, gave her a little bit more freedom, and it was, again, a step in the right direction towards being a happy, healthy, normal baby.
It was a huge amount of effort. It's 24-hour care, and 24-hour care for months and months and months. So everyone essentially puts their lives on hold, which is what animal care is all about.
We didn't want her spending any time alone, and obviously early on she was in such critical condition that we could not leave her alone. So one of our care team staff moved to overnights.
It was crazy and awesome. Who gets to do that? So yeah, I never complained. It was a lot. Lack of sleep, but it was a lot of fun. It was who gets to hang out with the baby hippo at night.
So what are some things the zoo did to help Fiona? The first thing they did was they cleaned everything a lot. It's kind of like what we're doing now. They cleaned everything to make sure Fiona was safe. Do you remember what they called the tubes? What they were used for? They were used to help give Fiona extra oxygen. And she started moving around so much they wouldn't stay in, so they took her off the oxygen. If you notice, some of the titles these people have when they work at the zoo are curator or team leader. What else did the zookeepers do, the people at the zoo, do for Fiona to make sure she was extra safe? They had someone spend the night with her. Would you want a job at the zoo spending the night with a hippopotamus? It sounds like fun. Let's see what else the zookeepers do.
So weighing her every day was pretty critical. It's one of the most valuable pieces of information we had every day.
Anytime you have an animal, even if they're mother reared, if you have an opportunity to weigh them, you can monitor them as they grow.
In the beginning, it was just picking her up and putting her on it, so it was pretty easy. And she was so light at the time, I could just pick her up, put her on the scale. And then it got to where it was easy when she would just walk onto the scale.
But I think the biggest gains that were legitimate gains that we ever saw were as many as 5 pounds in a single day. And to see her gaining weight on that kind of a scale was really encouraging and always made us happy.
And she hit 50, this is really good. Then she hits 100, that's really good. You know, once she hits 500, you know, we're all going to be excited. And we feel like she's doing better and better every day.
She was mostly staying healthy. She was doing well with the bottles. And we're like, cool, now we can kind of focus on growing up a little and becoming a hippo. And mostly...
What are some things you think hippos do? There's a hint right here. Hippos spend a lot of time in the water. What do you think they're helping Fiona do with the noodles? Let's watch and find out.
That meant focusing on water skills.
That was really interesting, trying to put like pool noodles underneath her to help her have her legs under her and try and exercise those muscles. I mean, standing up is something that hippos should be able to do within hours, and it took her weeks.
So it was really important as far as playing with her in the pool to gain her muscle strength, because she wasn't able to walk for so long and was very weak at the beginning. So the pool definitely is the best way for her to get exercise.
So why did they put Fiona in the water? In the little pool? They were helping to strengthen her muscles. They were using the noodles to help her. As Fiona got stronger, this became easier for her to do. She also thinks she's playing in the water. Would you want to help Fiona learn to walk in the water? That might be a fun job. Let's see what else the zookeepers do.
When she was still using the noodles, we still used the noodles under her. And I think the first time she put her face underwater, we were all just like, first time parents, and we were just like, oh God, you're gonna drown. No, wait, she's a hippo. She's designed to do this.
I knew she was totally fine to go in the water, but I was also really nervous to let go of her head and let her nostrils go underwater. And then when she did, she just seemed to have fun and kind of perk up and do really well.
We knew at that point that she was strong enough to at least be in there with support. And the fact that we were able to have people there holding her all the time and we didn't just throw her into a pool and let her go, that would have made me very nervous. But the fact that it was managed the way it was, didn't have too many nerves about that.
So how did they help Fiona get stronger? They helped her gain her strength with the pool noodles in a little pool. What do you think they're doing now? Is Fiona's pool getting bigger? Let's see.
Sort of began to thrive a little bit more once we could get her into water, because that's her natural habitat. So she, day one when we got her in the water, she was playful, she wanted to move. She wore out really quickly, so she couldn't be in the water for very long, but she wanted to be in the water. And she actually would feed better when she was in the water, certainly much more active, and just overall her value started to look better once we got her in a pool.
And like many children who get on the playground, she was just so thrilled and excited to be in the water. It's such a natural thing for hippos. And once she was starting to feel better and getting stronger, it was just like, I want to play all day, every day.
So her pools got bigger and bigger as she got bigger, and we knew she could navigate deeper waters.
Buoy. You can kind of slide her around.
Yeah. And then that blue pool everyone sees in our videos.
I think if she could still get in that blue pool, she would get in that blue pool. She loved that thing.
Once she was strong enough to be in any pool, and able to stand and handle those depths of, 2 feet or so and go up and down, it kind of felt like, of course she can do the next thing, and she'll need a bigger pool so that she can practice, porpoising and have the space she needs.
For her to have the freedom to get in that pool and move around and or even just sleep. Like, that's what hippos do. They sleep in the water. So we would just sit in there and let her play for as long as she wanted to, and then she would just take a nap on us. That's what she would do with Mom. So she needed to be a normal hippo and get off of that bed and out of that room and be in a pool.
So in the wild, a baby hippo would always be with Mom and would likely be in a bloat with several other hippos. So they're not solitary animals. She wouldn't be by herself. So there was a big emphasis and a focus on having companionship and always having a buddy there kind of supervising, making sure she's doing okay, and also just keeping her company, which none of us minded.
It was amazing to see once she kind of started to get the momentum, just how headstrong and how indestructible she really was as far as like her personality and stuff.
I think once she hit about 60 pounds, 50 or 60 pounds, it was like, okay, this is getting a little sketchy now. We can't keep picking her up anymore. She's got to do this on her own.
I know going up and down the ramp was awesome because eventually she was really hard to pick up. After she reached about 80 pounds, it was, unsafe for her and for us to be lifting her into the pool all of the time.
At night, before we used the ramp in the pool at night, I just introduced her to the ramp, just playing flat on the floor, just so she'd see it or feel because the bottom of it was kind of sandy or sandpapery. So to get her used to the feel of it underfoot, I would try to walk her across the ramp just flat on the ground.
But then that's where that relationship building comes in, because she trusted the people that were around her and because they were there encouraging her and telling her, it's okay, you got this, and kind of showing her and guiding her. She's smart. She figured it out right away. And we were relieved, too, because then it meant, nobody was going to be blowing their back out trying to lift Fiona anymore. That was one of those moments that was like such a little mini triumph, and it was such a small thing, but for her, it was a big deal.
The first time she walked up a ramp and went into her pool and did a little mini roll, we were ecstatic because she's a hippo and acting just like a hippo.
I think a lot of people said that a lot. She's going to be every time she'd hit a milestone, she's a real hippo now.
And we were lucky. She innately, even though being raised by humans is not ideal, she still had that hippo, which I was pleasantly surprised by. 6 weeks premature, like just really not ready for the world. To whatever the world has, I can handle it, is incredible. Because she was 6 weeks premature, I mean, you would expect that there would be a lot more setbacks for her, or she'd be slower to develop, or she'd hit her milestone slower. But she has hit every weight goal and developmental milestone that a normal hippo calf would have hit from, if we estimate what her real birth date should have been.
So how many of you would like to work at a zoo with Fiona? It sounds like it would be a fun job. I think I would like to be in the little pool with Fiona, the little blue pool. Don't know if I would want to be in a bigger pool though. She seemed to like playing in the pool. Now, think about some of the jobs that people had. What are some jobs that you might do if you wanted to work with animals like Fiona? There was a doctor. Oops. There was a doctor. What do we call animal doctors? Because I put doctor on here, but an animal doctor is called something else. A vet or a veterinarian, you're right. We had a head zookeeper. We had a care team. That's a lot of the people who were taking care of Fiona at night or during the day to help her learn how to be a hippo. And there was a nutritionist. That's someone who helps with food. Which job do you think you would like to have? I think I would want to be a member of the care team, the zookeepers that help Fiona. I think it might be interesting to have a sleepover with Fiona too, as long as she still stays little. Thank you for joining me on Learn at Home with VIA. Stay tuned for more information on Africa. Bye.